This is the new Subaru WRX, the latest version of a turbocharged rally rocket that's a Canadian favorite for its affordability, all-season traction, and fun-to-drive factor. I drove it a few weeks ago and thought that it had two things every WRX should have. One is the signature Subaru blue paint job. The other is a manual transmission, which in this case was a great new 6-speed unit. This is another new WRX. Same thing, but one key difference, it's got the model's first ever available sport lineartronic continually variable transmission, or CVT, a type of automatic that has no preset gears, and a type of transmission that driving enthusiasts and fans of performance cars like the WRX tend to, well, not like very much. Shifting a stick is the preferred way to change gears in a performance car, and whether you're a seasoned sports car veteran or just a kid dreaming of his first ride and drooling over a ride like this one in a parking lot, one of the things you do is look inside the car to see if it's a stick, a manual, to see if it's awesome and sporty, and if its badass driver is a total boss that rows their own gears. So looking into a car like this WRX and seeing an automatic shifter can leave some enthusiasts out in the cold. I'm one of them. And when I wrote my story on that blue stick shift equipped WRX, I talked a little smack, questioned why anyone would want their WRX without a manual transmission, and figured that the new CVT would just take too much away from the performance and fun. Shortly after, the folks at Subaru called and insisted I try it. They said I'd like it. I said I probably wouldn't, but set on making me eat my words. They insisted on having me drive this one to see what I thought. Sure, twist my arm. Remember that as a CVT, the gear ratio used at any given time is flexible and not tied to vehicle speed. Between an upper and lower limit, the CVT can create a virtually limitless number of ratios in the blink of an eye. Stands to reason then that since the CVT doesn't tie the engine to any particular RPM at any particular speed, it can really optimize power output or fuel efficiency or both if it's programmed expertly by engineers who know a thing or two about sports cars. Turns out that's the case. Drive gently and you'll accelerate up to speed with virtually no fluctuation in engine revs, which saves fuel. And since there's no shifting, there's no pause in the acceleration and it's more refined. Or hammer down, and since the CVT can whip up any gear ratio it likes at any speed, the transmission sort of pretends to shift, and it's programmed to simulate an automatic with really tightly spaced gears, let the engine stay in its power band, and keep that turbo spooling away furiously. The gist, drive gently and the CVT is smooth as glass, very refined, and cuts fuel use. Drive hard and it feels like a very quick shifting, close ratio automatic. If you get to some lapping with your new WRX, which you should, this transmission can be an ideal learning tool, especially for beginners. Put it in sport mode and it's always got your power ready to go, smoothly. No lurching gear changes, and it even knows when you're braking hard or ripping the heck out of a corner, automatically gearing down and revving up to get your turbo ready and your power output raring to go. That sport mode is operated by this SI drive switch on the steering wheel, which alters transmission, engine, and throttle characteristics to customize the car's feel and when and how hard the turbo kicks in. I liked the sport mode the most, especially on the circuit at higher speeds where throttle control felt the most natural, and even at the limits, you'll still feel like it's just an automatic transmission that's always in the right gear. There's also a Sport Sharp mode for even more response and an Intelligent mode for all-purpose driving. In any case, there's a sensation that the full brunt of this 2-liter, 268 horsepower engine is always right at the tips of your toes. There are paddle shifters to call up those pretend gear changes whenever you like, though the transmission is so smart that it's no faster to use them. It's a totally different experience, but on a track where you'll make friends with many other WRX drivers, this CVT makes it easy to enjoy the machine's full capabilities, flatters even novice drivers with instant and relentless on-demand power, and handles all gear shift-related duties expertly so those drivers can focus on the course ahead and enjoy the flattering and absolutely foolproof chassis and the flattering and foolproof grip from the all-wheel drive system that'll leave you feeling like a race car driver from the get-go. Of course, all of this with all of the other WRX attributes in place, you get access to world-class sports sedan performance without the world-class price, the ride quality is excellent over even the nastiest roads, and the new interior is improved considerably over the last car and no longer feels like it's lined with melted-down Tupperware plastic. And that CVT transmission just adds another dimension to it all. And of course, it will help Subaru sell more units to shoppers that have typically crossed the WRX off their list because it had only come with a stick. So with this new CVT transmission, the WRX is more refined, it's a smoother driving experience, it's better on fuel, it's very cleverly programmed, and it gives you even more foolproof access to the performance capabilities of that new engine and turbo system. Question is, would I buy one? I don't really think so. See, I'm a die-hard gearhead and I'm gonna roam on my own until I can't anymore. And if you're a guy or girl who loves driving a manual transmission like me, you'll find this new technology is kind of neat and interesting, but I just don't think it's gonna be quite enough to sway your decision if you just love driving a stick. So alright Subaru, I'll eat some of my words. I'll stick with the stick, but this new CVT is more than worth a look if a manual transmission isn't in the cards for your new WRX. It's clever and set up well and expertly programmed to basically eliminate the compromises to performance and driving feel that enthusiasts typically associate with this type of transmission, myself having been one of them. It's also considerably better on fuel than the manual too, so this new CVT is going to help deliver the new WRX driving experience to more shoppers than ever. So will the WRX's lower price. Now you can get into one from $30,000 with the 6-speed manual.